Hi folks, welcome to another Chief Steamer video. In this video, we want to talk again a little bit more about our 155 machine in 240 voltage. Now, I'm sure you guys know, you've probably compared, and again, if you're making the decision to buy one of my machines, I appreciate it. You've probably already looked at a Rhino. So Rhino does the same thing. Rhino makes their machine in 120 voltage. Rhino also makes their machine in 240 voltage. Now, from the little bit I know about the Rhino machine and what they put on their website about power, size of their boiler, I can't tell you specifics. I do think our boiler is a little bit bigger than their machine. Now, again, Rhino makes a big body. So Rhino makes a much bigger body with much more impressive wheels. They put the basket on the back. I know that leads to higher costs because I know that stainless steel in Italy has gone way up. So a bigger body definitely means bigger cost. I don't believe in bigger bodies and bigger cost because I think the serviceability of this machine is very easy. The whole top of this machine comes off, which exposes the internal components. And I'm a big proponent of being able to send you guys a part and having you fix it yourselves. So bigger doesn't always mean better or better specs. Rhino's machine has 145, we're at 155. Now, maybe I did 155 just to bump it up and say we have more pressure than Rhino. I know that's a little bit petty, but we're at 155, they're at 145. I believe our boiler is slightly bigger than Rhino. I believe our heater is slightly higher than Rhino. That's going to balance itself out as far as heating time goes. With a little smaller boiler in Rhino and with a slightly less wattage heater, it's probably going to be about the same heating time as ours with 3,800 watts and a 4-liter boiler. So that's about what we have. Both machines are going to operate about the same. Again, the 145 PSI, 155 PSI, they're both going to hold pressure really, really well. Now, what I'm impressed about Rhino is, now Rhino's machine is more expensive than ours. Rhino is going to give you 2 hoses. Rhino's going to give you a long, I believe, a 26-foot hose, which in my opinion might be a little bit too long. You might see a little bit more of a pressure drop with a 26-foot hose, and they're going to give you a 12-foot hose. So Rhino's giving you 2 hoses, which I think is very generous of them. I'm not doing that. I'm only giving you, we're cutting that basically in the middle. We're giving you a 16-foot hose. So we give you a 16-foot steam hose. We did tests on 14-foot steam hose, 16-foot steam hose, 18-foot steam hose, 20-foot steam hose. I'm happy with 16 feet. So we're giving you 16 feet. Rhino's giving you 2. I'm not giving you 2. But you're going to save a little bit of money. Our machine is smaller in stature. Again, you can go on the Rhino site and look at the difference between price, look at the difference between statistics, and hopefully you'll choose our machine. And again, we've had 0 problems with this machine since it's been out. It's super easy to service, and anything in 240 volt is going to just be a workhorse. I also know there's other 240 volt machines out there. Now, again, we're talking 240 voltage. We're not talking 3-phase electric. So when you get into 3-phase electric, you're talking 270 volt, you're talking 400 volt, but you're talking about way, way, way price increases. The power that you can get when you go to 3-phase electric is insane, but you're also going to kick the price up really, really high. So we don't do 3-phase electric. And most commercial buildings, you're not going to see even 3-phase electric coming into the building, and you're certainly not going to see that in your house. So anybody that knows a little bit about electricity, 3-phase is even more difficult than single-phase 240 volt. I don't want to confuse you, and I don't want to get too technical about the electric, but we're not going 3-phase electric. So you have to understand that when you're comparing a 240 volt machine and anybody's specs out there. I believe that Dupre makes a very nice 240 volt machine, but it's also a very tall machine. It's a little bit wider. I know it's got to weigh a ton. It's not a machine that's going to be shipped back and forth if you have a problem. So repairing that machine, you have to question, how's that machine going to be repaired if there's a problem? I know that machine's more expensive than ours, and I believe the specs are excellent on the Dupre machine. I think there's another Italian company out there that's making another 240 volt steamer with injection. But I believe they might be in the same PSI range, 8 bar, possibly 10 bar, which is still going to come in a little bit below this machine. A 10 bar machine would come in at about 145, 150. We're at 155. So we might be splitting the difference on that machine. But anybody's machine in 240 volt, again, we can only go so high. We can't take 240 volt and just kick the pressure up to 200, 250. I've already asked that out of my manufacturer. He says you can't do it. When we stick with 240 volt single phase, we've basically, again, maxed this out as far as we can go. So we're at 155 PSI, 240 volt single phase, but that can run on a 20 amp circuit, and it can run on most generators. So again, we've done another video of how to hook up your plug. We don't supply the plug with this machine. You're going to pick the plug in the outlet that you choose, whether it's a generator, whether you're going to hardwire this to a box in your shop or your garage, or it could be your dryer outlet that you're using inside your house or your garage. So we don't put the plug on it. You're just going to wire it. But again, it's two hot leads and a ground. It's very simple. Most electricians can do this in 10, 15 minutes. It's an easy hookup. But we also want you to understand, if you're looking at steamers out there with gigantic pressures and gigantic wattage, that's not 240 volt. That's going to be in three-phase electric. And then look at the prices of those machines and look at the size of those machines. We're at what I think is a very fair price on this machine. Anything in three-phase electric, you're talking at least 3 times the price of this machine. So for the size and what you get with this machine, it's going to be a great performer. We have other videos out there where we've trained the camera directly on the pressure gauge as we're using it, and you can see the pressure drop for yourself. There's very little pressure drop, and even when it does, as soon as you let go of the trigger, because it's 240 volt, it bounces right back up. So as we come into winter, and as the weather gets worse, and as you still have to wash cars on a below freezing day and you need a solution, we think this is going to be a great solution and still not take that much more time. So if you have a car covered in salt, covered in a lot of dirt from a snowstorm, this is going to be your best bet, even above what we claim in the 125 machine, which is only 120 voltage. So if you can go 240, think hard about it, do a little bit of research on it, and we think this is the machine to go. And I would invite you to compare our 240 volt machine to anybody else's out there. We think you'll like this one the best.